All right, so today is March 29th. And today's type is blueprint. It's a blueprint. So everybody's definition of a blueprint is probably different. But the definition of a blueprint is pretty much it's a layout of what things should look like and what the whole structure of what you're building should look like. And I thought about that and I was just like, I got my first house that I built, and they showed me the blueprint of what it was gonna look like. So I was like, man, okay, let me see what this house gonna look like. And when you're building a house, the foundation, when they put it down, it doesn't look like what the end result is. Like, it doesn't look like when you had the foundation and when you're doing something, like, you're going to realize when you see the blueprint, you can see what the end is going to look like. But when they start building it, it doesn't look anything like you imagining. So when you building a house and it's supposed to be, five bedroom, 2 bathroom, this kind of garage, the backyard, like, you can see it. But once they start building it, it doesn't look anything like that. And that's how life feels sometimes. So that's why I was like, you know what? We're going to talk about blueprint. So, and there's 3 things. So, I mean, you can alternate these. Sometimes you can, mix and match. But there's 3 things that you can have in a blueprint, right? And the first thing you need is a plan. That's the first thing you need in a blueprint, right? Because all a plan is writing something down that you're going to achieve or saying you're going to achieve it. That's what a plan is. Like, you look at the definition of what a plan is. It's something that you achieve something. That's what a plan is. So when you write down a goal or, in your blueprint of what you want it to look like, that's the plan. Like, you write it down. Like it says, write it down and make it plain. But just because you write it down doesn't mean there's not actions you have to take and to achieve what you said you wanted to do. So even though you have a plan, some of us get distracted from the plan. So yeah, I got my blueprint. I see my blueprint and this is the plan that I have. But guess what? Life happens and you get distracted from your plan. Yep, you're going to have distractions sometimes that come along to see how bad you want this plan. How bad you want to achieve what you said you want to achieve. I mean, I've had some distractions. Life has happened to where it hit me and I'm just like, man, like, should I change my plan? But when you have that blueprint, it's all like, you can't do with a blueprint. If you ever seen one, you can't get an eraser and be like, nah, I can't put that right there. Like, once it's in there, it's in there. So once you write that plan and you have a plan, you stay firm on it. Just because things happen in life don't mean that plan can't happen. Don't mean you have to give up on the thing that you wanted to do, that you desired, that was in your heart to do. Because when you thought about it and you put it on paper, it looked at the way that you wanted it to. But don't let distractions come along to stop you from the plan. All right? So the first thing in having a blueprint is a plan. All right? The second thing is a pattern. Yep. So the second thing is a pattern. So in life, there are patterns that we have in the plan. I'm gonna say that again. In life, there are patterns that we have in our plan. So meaning there's things about you that you're doing in your life that has a pattern that's not getting you to your plan. That's what's stopping you. Because of the patterns that you have. Like in that blueprint, there's patterns. Like, there's where the closet should be. Here's where the bathroom should be. And then there are certain patterns that it has. So if you don't have a pattern within the blueprint, it's going to mess everything up. So we can revert that. Like that pattern is pretty much your character. What does your character look like? What characteristics do you have to meet that requirement of the blueprint, of the plan that you have? Like, you got to think about those things. And these are some things that we don't think about because it's just like so beyond to understand. Like, this is what you need in life. That's what you need in life. Like, you had, like, there's certain things that you have patterns that line up with your plan. And if you're not doing those patterns, those routines to line up with your plan, it's not gonna come to pass. All right. So the first thing we have in the blueprint is you got to have a plan in. All right. The second one is you got to have patterns. Now the third one, to me, I think is the most, is the one that really needs to happen, and that's having a foundation. Foundation is like the top of the line for me, what you need to have. Because when you got to have a foundation, that's what it's built on. I mean, that's our life. Like, our life have different foundations. Not our life, everyone's foundation is different. That's why we all are different in life, because we have different foundations. Like, you got some people that have foundations on brick, some people that's on straw, but everybody's foundation is not the same. But just because everybody's foundation is not the same doesn't mean we can't proceed in life the way that we should. Like, what's your foundation? In your blueprint, what's your foundation? And what a foundation look like is all those things put together. It's your plan, it's your patterns, it's your routine, it's what is in it in your heart that your foundation is built on. To where when you have distractions, it still can stand. When you have life that comes along and give you, ups and downs, your foundation is still what holds you. Or when you have those trials and tribulations that's going to come, because guess what? They're going to come. They're going to come. I've learned that there's two things you cannot stop happening in life. And that's problems, and that's making mistakes. Two things in life you can never stop, because they're going to happen. And that's problems, and that's making mistakes. And when you make mistakes, I've learned from making my mistakes, is what you do after the mistake that counts. It's what you do afterwards. And then when you have problems, it's how you handle those problems that determines. Because guess what? We are in life, sometimes we're going to be broken. We're going to get broken. But just because everybody see it broken doesn't mean you can't take those broken pieces and make, as my boy Will say, a masterpiece out of it. Because think about it. When you see a puzzle, you see on the outside of the box what it can look like. But it's just like life. When you open that box and you put all the puzzle pieces on the floor, you look at it and be like, I don't know how this gonna look like what's on this box. You look at a puzzle, you looking at it, you like, how is this gonna look like the cover of the box? And what you gotta do, you gotta start piecing it together. So you take all those broken pieces and you start laying that foundation. And guess what? Just because you build your foundation the way that you need it to be built. Like, when I build puzzles, I used to build puzzles starting with the ends. I started with the end pieces. Some people can build puzzles starting from the middle. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just a different way of doing it. But at the end of the day, I still have a foundation. And I'm taking all these broken pieces to look like the end result. And that's how we got to do our life. Because we don't have the time that we think we have. I promise you don't. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, a lot of us think that we have the time, and that's why we push a lot of things off. But guess what? If you knew how much time you had, I want you to put in the comments how much time you got left. Please. I want you to put in the comments how much time you got left to do what you need to do. Because if you know, that means you need to speed up the process and not waste time for your blueprint, right? And that's what we do in life. We push a lot of things off because we feel like we have time. And you don't know how much time you have left. That's why they say live every day like it's your last. So that way when I wake up today, I'm living today like it's my last. So if it is my time, I can say, oh, you know what? I lived the day without any regrets, without holding back. And my foundation is what kept me. Right? So that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You got to have a blueprint in life. And like I said, 3 things within a blueprint. You got to have a plan, have a pattern, and have a foundation. Take those 3 things with you. Find out in your life, where's your foundation? What patterns do you have to make up who you are? Because sometimes we get off track and we forget who we are. We forget who we are sometimes because the foundation wasn't built. We started building something without seeing what was underneath of it. That's why when a trial or tribulation comes, it's so easy for it to knock you down and set you back. Because you didn't have a foundation, and then the plan that you had got knocked off. The plan. What up, Chris? Good morning. What's going on, man? So, I'm just letting you know that you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a foundation and a pattern that no one's promised tomorrow. And sometimes we get arrogant with our time, or we get arrogant with thinking that we gonna see tomorrow. Like, we have faith that we gonna see tomorrow, or we believe it, or we plan for seeing tomorrow. But what happens when you don't have that foundation? When you're looking at that puzzle and you see all the pieces that need to be put together, it's a process. But in that process, you have to realize, like, you have to take control. Like, you have to. Nobody else. Nobody else. It's up to you. Like, you have to learn how to do that. It's not something that you just wake up doing. You have to learn it. Everything we do is a learned process. And I promise you, like, you just have that foundation and make sure that it's the foundation that you want, not what somebody else wants. The foundation that you want, nothing can stop you. Because now you're waking up realizing that this is what I need to do. This is the plan that I have. These are the goals, these are the standards and the values, and I'm not going to settle. Because in life, sometimes we do. And we know that we do. But when we settle, we like to tell ourselves, we try to not define, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't try to define it, we try to justify it. Like, when we settle, we try to justify why we have this pattern, why we have this plan and this foundation. Because you know it wasn't set the way that you planned it to. And sometimes in life, when you have a plan, it can be adjusted. The plan can be adjusted. The foundation can't. You see that? Like, you can change the plan. You can alternate, you can adjust, you can do all those things. I know adjustments are hard. That's why some of us stay comfortable with doing what we're doing, because it's so familiar. And anything that's familiar, you keep doing. That's why it's hard for us to do new things. It's hard for us to accept something that we're not used to, because our brain is made to protect us. So anything that we hesitate on, or anything that we feel is a detriment to us, that's what happens. The moment you hesitate, Think about it. Anytime you hesitated, like something about it wasn't right. Like those hesitation moments. Like you don't hesitate to put your socks on. You don't hesitate to put your clothes on. You put them on. But if it's something that is, new to you, like, I'm gonna put that back. I'm gonna keep wearing this shirt that I wore for like 4 days straight. And I got shirts in the closet with tags on it. So look, have those 3 things. Like I said, in your blueprint, you have a foundation, a pattern, and a plan. All right? So look, it's your boy Will, just giving you some words of wisdom. Today is Friday. We made it. Hey, look, I'm here Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock a.m. I'm telling you, I'm coming with some new stuff. Next week, I know a lot of y'all have problems. We all have problems. It's one of the things you can't stop. But I'm getting ready to start something to where I'm going to talk about personalities. I'm going to help a lot of people. So make sure, look, you stay tuned because I'm talking about personalities and I'm going to put them into colors. I'll put them into colors. So we're going to have fun with it. All right. So, hey, look, it's your boy Will. Just give you some words of wisdom. See y'all Monday. Have a great Friday. I'm out.